Crew trying to break through, a couple of passes flicked, but intercepted by New York.
Come on. Luna. Luna.
Ball sent forward, but it's out of play. Just a couple minutes into the second half here. So far, so good for Crew 2. Now, subbing onto the match just before half, he stayed in to start the second, was Jacob Erlandson, who I mentioned, one of the leaders of this team, according to assistant coach Kobe H. Johnson. Mentioned that he's a player who brings in quite a bit of experience, has really helped solidify the back line, has 2 goals on the season, started in every match he's played and coming into today. As that ball does go out of bounds there on the far side. Erlandson is a player who also was on the team in 2022, so there's that sense of continuity. And there are several players on this team who came back from the team that won the inaugural MLS Next Pro Championship 1 season ago. This Crew 2 team with a lot of success. This one high, just past the penalty spot. It's headed here towards the near side, out of play. Columbus going to throw it back in quickly. Couple of passes connected. That one just not quite on target. Touched away. Sabufu looking for the ball across, but it wasn't quite on to Kasule. Red Bulls, though, still trying to win possession. There's Erlandson, who takes a push after the play. Whistle does blow. It's going to be a Crew 2 kick. However, Erlandson on the ground appears to be rolling back and forth in a bit of pain. Right as I was talking about it, Erlandson joined Crew 2 last season, was a part of the championship team in their inaugural MLS Next Pro campaign, in the inaugural season for the league, a super successful group, winning the championship in the postseason, also coming out with the best regular season record. Erlandson previously played at Bowling Green State University in 2020 and 2021, had 9 goals and 6 assists in 32 matches played. Now here's a dangerous cross in it, but it's well read. Marcucci has it. Dives on it, not taking any chances. New York Red Bulls 2 keeper. Erlandson taking a knock there early, but one of the leaders of this team coming in just before half as that ball is sent out of bounds. Columbus looking good here in the early going. Able to get the ball up the field. It's interesting looking in total at the final third entry passes. New York has an edge, but not as big of an edge as you would think. 31-26, which just means times they're able to play that positive ball forward into their attacking third as the touch just isn't quite on. Columbus trying to create something there on the far side, but it goes out of bounds for a New York kick. New York going to get the goal kick coming from Marcucci here. Now this New York team is showing incredible energy despite the fact that they have had so many matches in a short period of time. This was some good passes connected though by Columbus Crew 2. That's a nice ball slotted between the 2 defenders. Just the first touch not on for Crew 2. Now Columbus trying to build and create in the midfield. New York wins it back. Red Bulls 2 trying to find that ball direct between the pipes, but off his line is Scott. He has it, rolls it back out. Ball out of bounds here on the near side. Crew 2 connecting a couple of passes. They have it out in the far flank. Cutting middle. Ball sent across. He'll go one more. Trying to reel it in is Fuson. He lays it off. Erlandson chips it, but New York Red Bulls ready to step in. They headed out of bounds. It was initially some good connections. A little bit of a disappointing finish after initially Fuson got the ball here on this near side of the 18. Just couldn't quite get that first touch necessarily where he wanted it. Ended up getting it in a little bit of a difficult area of the field, not at a good angle. So he slotted it back. Here's Fuson trying to reel that one in, but it flies over him and out of bounds. He touched it last and it looked like it just skimmed off him, so it's a New York Pro. Red Bulls 2 really with an impressive amount of energy in this matchup because it is their 3rd match in the last 7 days. They faced Toronto in that midweek contest that ended up being a heartbreaker, 2-1 loss. Prior to that, they faced the New England Revolution 2 on August 6th, 1 week ago today. They tied Revolution 2 on the road. Somehow came up with quite the showing in that matchup, finishing at 1 apiece. Now, there were quite a bit of rotations in the Red Bulls 2 lineup. As they get the ball forward, New York has numbers. Well defended on that far side. Good work by Clay Holstad. Another one of the experienced defenders for this Columbus Crew 2 side. Some of the fans not happy, felt like there was maybe some contact, but nothing called. Columbus now working it inside their 18. Good step by New York. Bringing it up the field here. It's Estrella. Good slide tackle. It's sent out of play, but New York earns the corner kick. So really tough stretch. A lot of matches in a short period of time for New York, as has been the case for many teams across MLS Next Pro. But they also dealt with having to travel on the road, middle of the week. They're on the road again for their third contest. The coaching staff did an excellent job, though, really changing up the lineup. 6 changes from that Toronto matchup to this one because they rested a lot of their starters, at least, to begin that matchup. So Bufu didn't start in that match. Here's the cross into the mix. Batted away. Goes out of bounds. Well read by Scott. Ibrahim Kasule, the team's leading goal scorer. Bufu, another one of the leading scorers for this Red Bulls team, didn't start in that last matchup, along with a couple of other players who are typically starters. So it was good work by the coaching staff to try to keep everyone fresh, because New York has come out with quite a bit of energy, despite the fact that they've been playing on the road in so many matches in such a short period of time. Bulls 2 trying to create something on the far side. It's a great first touch. Ball slotted forward. Defended well, though. Kasule trying to find the opening. A lot of black jerseys over there. So many defenders just hovering around the ball. Columbus doing everything possible not to allow the breakthrough. Not just a first or second defender, third and fourth defender there as well. Columbus trying to win possession, but New York gets to throw on the far side. Crew 2 trying to win it back in their defensive third. New York trying to find the opening. Can they get a third? They'll have to swing it around. That was a good defensive stance there for Crew 2. They did a good job of just getting a lot of numbers around the ball, stepping quickly, having those first, second, third defenders there. They got into passing lanes, didn't allow New York to have any clear breakthrough. They also didn't give them any space out on the flank, which is something that New York has had throughout this match. It's well read. Can Columbus get it out? Seen out of play, that's exactly what happens. And that's all you have to do when you have a player like Frank Subufu running at you, challenging shoulder to shoulder, trying to win that ball. Just get it out of play. You do not want to try to do anything fancy or take any chances, especially when running across almost your own goal mouth, right across the 6 there. New York, though, still has it deep in the defensive third for Crew 2, high up the field for Red Bulls. Attempting to chest that one across. Columbus has it, though. 2 trying to work it out of pressure. There's the double team. New York is successful. They win it back. Now trying to get forward. Kasule not quite able to find the opening. Now Crew 2 has the numbers up advantage. The direct ball is well read, headed away by the Red Bulls. Back to Marcucci. He plays a big ball forward. The 50-50 challenge falls out of bounds. It's going to be a Red Bulls throw. So New York really stepping up during this tough stretch. So many matches, such a short period of time. They bring it in here. Interestingly enough, 2 goals scored, one of them not scored by Ibrahim Kasule, who had that one really clear chance to put away in front of an open goal, but he was the MLS Ex-Pro Player of the Month for July. I mentioned some of his impressive stats in the last 10 matches. Right on cue, there's a shot fired well over by Kasule. He was the MLS Ex-Pro Player of the Month for July, but he hasn't been the only contributor for this side. Amos Shapiro-Thompson just scored his first career goal in that matchup on Wednesday against Toronto. I mentioned that he was the player who got the lone goal for the Red Bulls. Now Columbus trying to work it out of the back. Shapiro-Thompson had been battling injuries in the past couple of weeks, so that was a huge confidence boost for him. This New York team has no shortage of offensive firepower, that's for sure. Columbus, though, getting it up into their attack. Cutting middle. Ball slotted across, and just the touch not quite on. Bunbury trying to find the opening. He didn't quite have the angle. He had a couple of players in front of him, tried to slot one more across, but the first touch just not quite there. Taha Hebron tried to reel it in, just wasn't quite successful. Player who needs to get on the ball a little bit more is Taha Hebron. He's a player who can score for this team, really crafty and creative on the ball. Hebron has 3 goals, 1 assist on the season. He's a player who's really developed and done well to improve throughout the season. In addition to the fact that he scored the equalizer in the team's last matchup, so it brings in some confidence heading into this one. There's a foot race. Won and cleared out of bounds by Columbus. Kasule was threatening. Hebron, 3 goals on the season, scored in that last matchup, got the equalizer against Huntsville City FC, so brings in that level of confidence. He's a player who has a little bit of that creative flair, the attacking flair that the coaching staff is looking for. A super important piece for this Crew team. Has improved quite a bit throughout the season. There's a shot, just sent wide. It's going to be a corner kick for the Red Bulls. New York continuing to threaten here in the second half. They are just so efficient in the attacking third. They've actually had a couple of missed chances throughout this matchup, and generally they are a team that is very good. New York now with the corner. They play it back on the ground. Cross sent in. Header sent over. It's going to be another corner kick coming for the Red Bulls. Corner kick play there. They had one player out right next to the corner looking as if they were going to play it short. They didn't play it short, but they did play it out on the ground rather than swinging the cross directly in. Sometimes when you do send the ball back, that can cause the defense to step or cause players to turn their heads and potentially lose their marks, creating an opening as you send that shot in. They do the same play once again. Cross sent towards the back of the 6, touched away. Well read by Scott. He clears it. It's going to be a throw-in coming for New York here on the near side. Good read there by Brady Scott. Is able to touch that one far enough out of bounds so that none of those New York players around the box were able to pounce on a rebound. Now Columbus has a massive matchup coming up against their rivals in the state of Ohio. They play FC Cincinnati 2 coming up on Saturday. That's going to be a huge matchup. Expect to see a lot of fans out at that one, as a couple of substitutions are being made for Columbus. Crosses it into the mix, back of the 6. Header, second header, and it falls in! It's a third for New York Red Bulls 2! They're able to capitalize on a bouncing ball in the box. The second header goes in. It's a good cross sent into a dangerous area. The New York does an excellent job of just sending that header back into the mix. It bounces, and Scott isn't quite able to reel it in, and then that ball goes high enough that New York's able to get ahead there first. It's an excellent opportunity just created based on those killer instincts inside the 18. New York had so many bodies around, everyone ready to pounce. The goal scored by Matt Tacita. He has that size, standing at 6'8", the defender getting up inside of the 18, and he pounces on that ball bouncing around the 6. Puts in a third for New York Red Bulls 2, and they have a comfortable lead here in the 62nd minute.
Double substitution for Columbus in the 61st minute.
Over the end line.
Exiting the match were number 49, Komaraka, number 29, Mateo Bunbury. Entering the match were number 53, Brent Adugiamfi, and number 17.
A couple of substitutions we made for Columbus Crew 2. Jordan Knight entering the pitch, as well as Brent Adugiamfi. Big ball is sent forward, up into the attacking third, but it bounces out of bounds. Brent Adugiamfi entering the match. Couple of passes. Well read by New York. They now go the other direction. All slotted out wide. Crew 2 steps in though. This New York attack just been too much for Columbus. They're just so dangerous inside the 18. They always have so many numbers in. A little miscommunication there as Scott came out ready to win it. Doesn't look entirely happy. New York has it though. Here comes Valencia. Slots it in. The cross and the goal! It's a fourth for New York Red Bulls 2, and it's a pretty one. A great connection, a beautiful cross sent in by Omar Valencia. The finish put in by Ibrahim Kasule. He has 10 goals in the last 11 matches. That time, no doubt about it, Kasule able to find the seam to take that shot. He's inside the 6, already so close to goal. He just has to try to poke it through. He does exactly that, using his left to find that side netting. Kasule in the right place at the right time, able to somehow sneak it through several defenders who were inside the 18, but a lot of credit to Omar Valencia for the cross sent in. It was really well placed. He did a good job of picking his head up. And then once again, the New York Red Bulls press relentless. They win that ball high up the field. Valencia has space, and he slots it across beautifully to Kasule. Great work by Valencia. Good finish by Kasule. What a turn of events here at historic Crew Stadium. The New York Red Bulls are absolutely dominating the score sheet at this point. 4-0 lead for the visitors. Amos Shapiro Thompson now coming into the match, a player who just scored recently for this Red Bull side. Thrown away by New York, but a tough challenge. Down on the ground now is Nosita. Nosita on the ground, that's a tough one.
For New York. Exit the match was number 91, Bento Luis Estrella. Entering the match was number 77, Amos Shapiro Thompson.
Little pause in play briefly. Training staff out on the field as Matt Nosita went down. Little collision there. He's going to step off. He now has to wait for 3 minutes, but he can step back on and re-enter the match if everything is okay. Nosita getting it on the end of a goal, his first of the season just a couple moments ago. Putting in the third one for New York after he was able to rise up and just put down a header and a ball that was bouncing in the box and hit off the hands of Brady Scott. New York Red Bulls looking to continue to advance, solidify themselves in the playoff standings. Their next matchup is going to be against Atlanta United 2, but they host them back at home. It's one back by New York. Another moment for the press. Sabufu, his shot is blocked. A nice shot. Nope. It looked good though. It's going to be a corner kick coming for New York. But this New York team hosts Atlanta United 2 coming up in their next matchup that will be played on the 21st. They also face Chicago Fire FC 2 on the 27th. So luckily they have survived this hectic week. Short quarters played in. A couple of passes connected. Valencia plays it all the way back. Receives it again. A couple of good passes connected here. Can they find the opening? Cutting back is Carmona. Sends it across, but it's a little too direct. Scott has it in his hands, but punts it out immediately. Trying to run it down here is Fuson. Ends up getting cleared into the stands, those yellow stands here at historic Crew Stadium. Throw-in coming there on the far side. The story of the match has been this New York Red Bulls high press that has been so effective in creating goal-scoring chances in addition to their efficiency inside the 18. Every player on this team in the right place at the right time has that killer instinct to pounce on those first, second, third balls, putting away a couple of rebounds in this matchup. A total of 22 shots for this New York team, 12 on target. Close chance there for Columbus. Marcucci called into action, which hasn't happened a ton in this matchup. 3 shots on frame for Columbus Crew. Both teams challenging around midfield. Crew 2 come up with it. Can they pull one back? There's the shot. It's a great save. Whistle blows though. Down on the ground though, unfortunately, is the Red Bulls 2 keeper. That's a great ball slotted across to Fuson. It was a little bit of a tough angle. He did fire that shot with quite a bit of pace. However, Marcucci on the ground goes down, and a trainer is going to come out of the field as he has not gotten up after about 15 to 20 seconds. That is typical protocol. Marcucci hasn't been called into action too much in this match. That was one of the best goal-scoring chances for this Crew 2 team throughout this game. So the New York Red Bulls 2 keeper on the ground, getting checked out right now by the training staff. It's a 4-0 lead for the Red Bulls. A comfortable lead at that. This could have massive implications in terms of the standings. New York is just 1 place behind Columbus Crew 2. They're 4 points, so 3 points today won't allow them to surpass Crew 2 for that number 3 spot, but it will get them to within 1 point with about 6 matches remaining on the season. So that means the Red Bulls are going to be positioned perfectly to surpass Columbus, and they're also going to be only 1 point behind the second place team if they do take those 3 points today, because Columbus is only in third by a point. So this would really help close the gap for this New York team. And also this should provide a huge confidence boost for this group, able to put up 4 goals, have not conceded yet, despite the fact that Columbus has created a couple of chances. This last one of the best of the match for Crew 2. Up and down the stat sheet, New York Red Bulls 2 has just been dominant outside of the possession stat. Columbus with 63% of the ball at their feet. However, the Red Bulls, 24 shots fired to 6, 13 shots on target to 3. 18 shots fired inside the box. It's not like they're just taking a crack at it from far out, from distance. They're getting clear, clean looks inside the 18. In addition, New York has the edge 12-5 in corners, 19-11 in crosses. This attack just so effective. Speed, physicality, great instincts, good movement on and off the ball, constantly players crashing inside the box. They're just so effective in their game plan. You can tell this group just coached so well. It's just a very difficult style of play to compete against. You're constantly under pressure, you're constantly pressing high, flying at you, getting the ball forward so quickly you don't have time to organize defensively. It's just a very difficult style of play to go up against. Ball goes out of bounds there on the far side. New York Red Bulls 2 keeper AJ Marcucci down once again. He's outside the 18, laying on the ground. The training staff out again, helping him up. He's not really putting weight there on that right leg and does appear to be walking off the pitch. So a big moment here for New York Red Bulls 2. Their keeper dealing with some struggles here, AJ Marcucci. Starting his 20th match of the season, one of the most elite keepers in MLS Next Pro. Walking off the field, very slight limp with that right foot. Hopefully it is just something minor. Hopefully he is okay because he is such a huge part of this team. Was selected by the Red Bulls, the 3rd round of the 2021 draft. Prior to that, played preseasons at Connecticut. Was an All-American, set the school record for clean sheets in 25. Also was signed to a new deal with the organization in late June, just a couple months ago. So a player that this organization has been very happy with in terms of development and what he brings to this team. So hopefully he's okay. And now the backup keeper, Alan Rakowski, is stepping onto the pitch. Rakowski, with 3 games started, has a 1.67 goals against average, has made 11 saves and just under 69% save percentage. So a big opportunity here for Rakowski. Get some minutes. As there is a foul there on the far side, whistle blows. New York with a player down. They also did just make a substitution. Mohamed Sofo stepped onto the match, just 18 years old. Added on loan by Red Bulls 2 after being with JMG Academy. So it's going to be a kick coming there on the far side, just inside the touchline for New York Red Bulls 2. Now this is a great opportunity to get some of the young players on this roster some experience, up 4 goals. How can they utilize this time to continue to get better? New York now with a kick, they line up. Cross it in, just inside the 18. The second ball, and is put away! New York, just magnificent, unstoppable in this matchup. Just into the match, it's Mohamed Sofo, and he puts one away. It's a dangerous ball sent into the mix, and New York is able to get there first. And then this is a team that is constantly so deadly on those rebounds. Any ball that falls inside of the box, there is a Red Bulls 2 player there at the right place, at the right time, doing everything they can to win it, putting their body on the line, and they've been able to capitalize time and time again in this matchup. It is a 5th goal for New York Red Bulls 2. And they have completely run away with this one. Substitutions coming in, making an immediate impact. That's got to feel good for Mohamed Sofo. Columbus Crew 2 just got to try to, in the words of Ted Lasso, have the memory of a goldfish. Try to move on from this one because this is a tough loss to stomach. 5 goals given up here in the 75th minute. This Crew 2 team with so much talent. They are the reigning MLS Next Pro champions, sitting in 3rd place. They've got to try to pick their heads up, move on, look to the next matchup. Got to throw in some Ted Lasso references here to this matchup as it is a 5-goal game. The Red Bulls comfortably on top. Crew 2, though, have still a lot left to play for throughout the season. I wouldn't be surprised if they end up making a deep run in the postseason. So this is a team that's going to have to regroup after this one. The Red Bulls were very effective in their game plan. They executed exactly what they like to do. So here's ball sent down to the corner, just not quite able to be kept in play. Running it down was Jordan Knight. Subbed into the match, but couldn't quite keep it in. This Columbus Crew 2 team, still a lot left to play for. They came in and they were so successful in the inaugural MLS Next Pro season. They've been having a really strong season up to this point, 12-6-3, coming into this matchup. 3rd place in the Eastern Conference. Assistant coach Kobe A. Johnson said one of the biggest reasons for this team's success is by the fact that they emphasize having a very close group and players developing relationships on and off the field. He said, in MLS Next Pro, it's a little bit of a challenge. You get players who more diverse in their age groups from different parts of the world. The lineup and rosters are changing week in and week out, so it's so important to create that connection and foster that sense of community. This ball's won back by the Red Bulls. Here they come on the counter. Well read by Crew 2. Red Bulls still on the front foot. The shot deflected, rolls into Scott. He has it. Scott plays a big ball forward and it's headed the other direction by the Red Bulls, but Columbus has it once again. Crew 2 love to get one on the board. Just get a little bit of confidence boost rather than being shut out in this matchup. There's a couple of challenges, but New York comes up with it. Here they come in transition. All slotted out wide, trying to find the connection across, but it's well read by Crew 2. Olstad back with it now. Trying to find the direct ball forward, but it's cleared high and out of play by New York. Throw and come, make it for Crew 2. This match took such an interesting turn, not expecting this goal-scoring outburst from New York Red Bulls 2 just based on the last time these two teams met. A 1-1 draw back on March 26th. That was the first game of the season. And certainly there have been a lot of changes for both these sides since then. Crazy how long ago that was. However, Columbus took the extra point in PKs. New York had the lead for most of the match. Crew 2 equalized in stoppage time. As here comes Columbus now. It's well read, good step there by New York. Now they come out on the counter. Pass intercepted though. Crew 2 have it again. Ball out wide. Well read. Once again intercepted by the Red Bulls. They clear it forward. Crew 2 now in possession. Erlinson. We're going to get it forward. Nice piece of skill there from Nicoletto. A little bit of a miscue there, though, as he's trying to find Erlinson, laying that one off back, so it's going to be a Red Bulls 2 ball. Now, without a consistent group, Crew 2 says the relationship's been so important. It's been a focus of this group to develop relationships all on and off the field. Coach Johnson said every single player on this team is always willing to help other players improve. He said it's so important as well to just try to start to build upon some consistency to make sure this team has a clear identity. They come in and want to impose their will, to play with their style, and to impose their game plan. Unfortunately, that's not what happened today. This New York Red Bulls team has a clear identity. They are very effective in what they are looking to do, very effective in their game plan with that high press, getting to goal quickly, utilizing all the tools they have in the attack, and then they're also difficult to break down. It's something that can't be overlooked. New York is so good in their structure as well, despite the fact that they press high, they aren't broken down easily, which is very rare. A team that presses high like that, mixing a lot of numbers forward quickly, oftentimes can be very vulnerable in transition situations, in counterattack situations, because there's a lot of open space behind that front line of pressure. Sofo trying to get by two defenders, splits them, but a third is there to chip it away. Columbus has it now. What's so special about this New York Red Bulls 2 team is that they do utilize the high press. They look to get to goal quickly. They don't need to possess the ball a ton because they are so efficient in their attack. They're able to break lines quickly, and they use the high press to win the ball high up the field, immediately go to goal, and then they're clinical in the final third. However, what's special is that they're also very difficult to break down. When you hold the high press, when your opponents break through that first line of pressure, there can be a ton of space in behind for them to get up the field quickly and capitalize in transition. New York isn't a team that is easy to capitalize on. They are just so quick at getting back behind the ball. Their backline's so good, a cohesive group. They do a good job of stepping here throughout this match. When they have that high line, it's a cohesive group that's stepping. They're able to stay in such a good shape, a good structure, that when they do allow their opponents to get by that initial frontline press, they're able to recover the ball quickly. It's just really impressive what this Red Bulls 2 team has done this season, the style of play that they're able to execute.
Entering number 44, Ethan Jarvis.
For example, another team that plays with a high press and really commits to getting numbers forward in this league is Houston Dynamo 2. However, they've also just had a little bit of trouble in terms of conceding goals because they play with a high press and sometimes can find themselves vulnerable in transition. The fact that New York has been able to ride that line of executing both is just so impressive. Columbus dispossessed at midfield. New York in transition. Trying to find the ball across, but it's well read by Crew 2. Seen out of bounds. Now this Crew 2 defense, not one that typically concedes goals in this fashion. They're top 8 in MLS Next Pro with the fewest goals conceded, so not a team that has given up 5 goals throughout the season. This is a rare occurrence for this Crew 2 team, which also speaks volumes about the quality of this New York attack. There's a shot on goal, saved by Scott. Crew 2 also is a team that typically wins the ball high up the field. Third and corner kicks taken because they're able to get end line and try to send in crosses. They're also, I mentioned, really high in terms of passing and pass percentage. And here's a chance. Ball deflected, second ball, the header just sent over. It's a last-minute save by New York Red Bulls 2. Their back line heading that one over just before it went in. Now this is a great run forward made by Jordan Knight, using his speed to get by his defender, and then Columbus had players there. They are continuing to press, not giving up for a moment of this match. It was Avante Mullings who was forced to just head that one over. Columbus making a couple of other substitutions as they look to get some players some experience. Nico Rincon coming into the match, in addition to Owen Prestis. So allowing some of these younger players to get some time. Rincon, just 17 years old, Columbia native. Crossing in. Header caught. Whistle blows though. It's going to be a kick coming for New York. Goal kick coming here. It's a big ball played over midfield, but it goes out of bounds. They're on the side. On the sideline there. Laurent Courtois, the head coach for Columbus Crew 2. Coach Courtois became the first head coach in Crew 2's history when he was named to that role in January of 2022, ahead of the inaugural season. He joined the Crew as the head coach for the Crew's Academy U17 team back in 2019 before stepping up to take on the U19 head coaching role. As here comes New York once again. That's a great piece of defensive effort by Jordan Knight. My goodness, just a couple moments ago, he was up in the attacking third, looking to make a run on goal and fire a shot. Now he's all the way back, defending up against the end line, and is able to force this New York team away from goal. Uses a ton of speed, just a little explosive step there from Jordan Knight, and he's able to mix it up with the New York attackers and force them away from goal. Great help defending and just covering a lot of ground is Jordan Knight. However, whistle does blow, so it's going to be a kick coming for Red Bulls 2. New York with 2 players over there on the far side. A 2-man wall for Crew 2, trying to block off that near post. Curled in, header, bounces to Scott. Scott has it, throws it out, but it's well read. With space, Shapiro tops it. A little misfire there, and it's going to be a goal kick for Scott. Ball goes out. It's interesting, these two teams with contrasting styles of play in terms of possession. The New York Red Bulls are bottom in the league in terms of a number of the passing statistics. Columbus Crew 2, top of the league in a number of those types of statistics. Red Bulls 2, second fewest accurate passes connected, third fewest total passes connected, second lowest pass percentage, just under 71%. But it doesn't matter because the game plan is effective, and at the end of the day, possessing, if you're not able to create goal-scoring chances, doesn't do much of anything. However, as I mentioned, this Columbus team has been doing a good job, and they have throughout the season. They utilize their possession to come up with results. That's why they have the 12-6-3 record. But it's still something that their coaching staff feels like they could continue to take steps forward on, is possessing with a purpose. But New York, okay with being on the lower end of some of those passing statistics. They can come up with results like this. They're just really structured, great in transition, great with their high press. Really hard to break down. Also, they have the third most clean sheets in MLS Next Pro with 7 as a club, in addition to conceding the fewest goals in the Eastern Conference. And passes connected. They're on the sidelines. He's the head coach for the New York Red Bulls, Ibrahim Sakaya, in his first season. Columbus now there gets it down, and they're attacking third, but it's sent out of bounds. Sakaya, the third head coach in the Red Bulls 2 history. February 2015 was named an assistant coach for Red Bulls 2, which began its first season of play in the USL. Now, Red Bulls 2 is not a new team compared to Columbus Crew 2. They existed for 8 years competing in the USL. Specifically before this, competed in the USL Championship Division. Now, Sakaya was named interim head coach of the club after serving as the assistant for all of those seasons. He was named the interim head coach in July of 2022, officially earning that head coach title coming into the season. And he is an individual who also had a very successful playing career, played professionally for more than 15 years, primarily at the center back position, competed for the Ugandan national team as well, so had international caps, played towards the latter half of his career with the Red Bulls organization, ended up coming back, sticking around as a part of the coaching staff. In that season with the Red Bulls, though, I believe it was 2013-14, helped them capture a regular season title and make a MLS Cup playoff appearance, and now was making his mark on the coaching side for this Red Bulls organization. As Columbus tries to work the ball up the field, it's an opening there on the far side. It's Knight with the ball. Using his speed, gets it into the corner, but it's well defended. Columbus. Erlandson. Erlandson fires a shot and it rings off the crossbar. What a shot, a laser. Just inches off. Another cross sent in. It's kept in play. Collision there just inside the corner of the 18. Crew 2 still has it. Fourth official has indicated a minimum of 5 minutes of stoppage time to be added on here after 90. Crew 2 not giving up for a second. You just love to see the fight, energy this team is showing. Players who come in as subs are not wasting a moment of this time on the field. A player to keep an eye on is Jordan Knight, who is so fast and so explosive. He did the work to get that ball down in the corner. It was a couple of nice passes connected before Jacob Erlandson found the ball outside the 18, about 20 plus yards out, was able to pick his head up, fired that shot really nicely. It was well struck. He had the right amount of pace, was able to place it and keep it low enough to where it was just about on frame. Fortunately, soccer a game of inches. That one hit off the post and cleared out. Erlandson was able to find that opening because of a couple of good passes connected by this Columbus Crew 2 team and a really high work rate of Jordan Knight, a player who's been really fun to watch throughout this match since being inserted here in the second half. Erlandson on the ball again, tried to step there, but Red Bulls 2 has it back again. other direction. It's going to be Red Bulls 2 with the throw. So this win should be a huge confidence boost for this Red Bulls 2 team. Such a big moment for them to put 5 on the board while holding their opponent scoreless. This Red Bulls team already among the tops in the league in clean sheets. If they can close this one out here in the final moments, despite the fact that Crew 2 is still pressing, they will continue to climb up the ranks. And 7 clean sheets coming into this matchup if they can finish this one out, make it 8. Now, one thing to keep in mind, 7 Crew Academy players with the squad tonight. 3 players under the age of 18 starting in the midfield. Crew Academy members, so a very young group out there. For Crew 2, this Red Bulls team at full strength after rotating a bit of their lineup in their midweek matchup. They brought out all of their leading scorers, or more at full strength than they were in terms of their starters on Wednesday, because you got to try to keep legs fresh, got to make sure everyone stays energized with the amount of matches they had in a short period of time. This was one of their strongest lineups. Whistle blows. Some of the fans in the stands at historic Crew Stadium not entirely happy. Red Bulls get the kick. They play it in on the ground. Just a couple moments remaining to close out a massive victory for New York. Here they get it forward. Sofo looking to make it 2. Cuts middle. Gets it back. Well read by Crew 2. And they clear it out. Ball across to Scott. He plays it out on the ground. Fans beginning to chant, showing their support for Columbus Crew 2. This is a team that's had a ton of success throughout the season. A young roster, the lineup out there today just wasn't quite able to execute against this very, very difficult style of play that the New York Red Bulls 2 team brings. Columbus, though, not letting up, looking to get a late goal. That one sent out of play. Corner kick coming for Crew 2. Can they get one on the board? New York has scored quite a bit this season, but this is the first time they put in 5 goals. Also their largest margin of victory this season. What a performance by this New York Red Bulls 2 team, and what a confidence boost heading into this final stretch of the season. Put on a performance like this against a high-quality Columbus Crew team that's right in the mix of the playoff picture, just 1 point out of second, shows the quality of this Red Bulls side, shows just how effective their game plan can be. And they actually had more chances. It really could have been 6 or 7 because they had a couple of clear chances that were not put away. This one slides, sent out of bounds. Noah Fuson continuing to pressure a player who you can see has a lot of promise, certainly going to be important for this Columbus Crew 2 team. Playing in his 2nd season with the Crew. Cross, blocked. Columbus still with it. Nice cut. Trying to get the cross off, but it's sent wide. Owen Crustus was trying to find the opening, but just over-rotated a little bit and sent that one outside of the frame. There is the final whistle. MLS Next Pro Match Day 22 officially in the books from Columbus, Ohio. It was an absolutely stunning performance, an offensive breakout for New York Red Bulls 2 as they take this matchup 5-0. Now it is time for our MLS Next Pro Man of the Match presented by Adidas. It's going to be Red Bulls attacker Frank Sabufu, who did an excellent job of setting up the first critical goal for New York. He is a player who has so much speed, so much physicality in the attack. And here he's just running at the right place, at the right time, buries that rebound. And he got the 2nd goal, so a goal and an assist for Frank Sabufu. He now has 6-2 on the season. But it was really hard to pick a man of the match because there was such a scoring outburst from so many players across this game for New York Red Bulls 2. They finished 5-0, 5 different goal scorers for New York in this matchup. A strong performance as they improve to 11, 7, and 5 on the season. They'll still hold on at 4th place in the Eastern Conference, but they now trail Columbus Crew 2 by just 1 point. For our entire MLS Next Pro broadcast crew, I'm Kylan Mills. Once again, the final score, New York Red Bulls 5-0. They take a massive victory here in Columbus. Don't forget, you can watch MLS Next Pro all season long at MLS Season Pass on Apple TV and MLSNextPro.com. Thanks so much for being with us. Have a fantastic week.
This copyrighted broadcast of MLS Next Pro may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcasted without the express written consent of Major League Soccer.